Welcome to the Victorian chapter president's chapter's April session of this long-running environmentally sustainable design lean-in webinar. I'm David Wagner, president of the Victorian chapter of the Australian Institute of Architects and partner of Tony Wagner Architects. We'll be hosting today. I welcome you to today's lean-in session on the benefits of electrification, presented by the Honourable Lily D'Ambrosio, Victorian State Minister for Climate Action, Minister for Energy and Resources, and Minister for State Electricity Commission, together with Kate Brown, who is Executive Director of Electrification, Efficiency and Safety at the Department of Energy, Environment and Climate Action. This session is being recorded, and should you need to leave early or wish to review later, the session will be available on the Institute's YouTube channel, which will be uploaded in the next few days, and a link emailed to you. There'll be an opportunity for questions at the end of the presentation. Simply refer to the Q&A box on your screen below to add to your query. But first, in the spirit of reconciliation, the Institute of Architects acknowledges the traditional custodians of country throughout this land we now call Australia, and their connections to land, sea and community. We express our gratitude to their elders and knowledge holders whose wisdom, actions and knowledge have kept culture alive. Recognise First Nations peoples as the first architects and builders. We appreciate their continuing work on country from pre-invasion times to contemporary First Nations architects, and respect their rights to continue to care for country. I'd like to remind everyone in attendance today of our collective responsibility for safe spaces, both within the workspaces we inhabit and the events in which we celebrate our industry. We enjoy an inherently diverse and complex social fabric. It is important to understand, recognise and respect the differences that make a strong, inclusive community. Today, we're delighted to welcome our guest speaker, the Honourable Lily D'Ambrosio, MP, who has represented the electorate of Mill Park in the Victorian Legislative Assembly since 2002. She has previously served as Minister for a variety of portfolios, including Community Development, Industry, Suburban Development and Environment. But most notably, she is Australia's longest-serving current Minister for Energy, having been in the role since 2014, as well as currently being the Minister for Climate Action, Minister for Energy and Resources and Minister for State Electricity Commission. Minister D'Ambrosio managed the passage of a restored Climate Change Act, Victoria's landmark climate legislation, which saw it become the first Australian state to legislate in line with the Paris Agreement for net zero emissions by 2050, a target that has since been updated to 2045. Recently, she announced Victoria's commitment to nations' leading targets for reduction of greenhouse gas emissions, including a goal of halving emissions by 2030 and reducing them by 75 to 80% by 2035. The State Electricity Commission has also been revived to build a portfolio of 4.5 gigawatts of publicly owned renewable energy by 2035 as part of a landmark commitment to reach 95% renewable energy in Victoria. Minister D'Ambrosio is passionate about redesigning the Australian energy market to facilitate a smooth transition into a renewable, reliable and affordable energy future. So with that introduction, I pass you over to the Honourable Lily D'Ambrosio. Thank you, Minister.
Thank you very much, David, for your introduction. And can I acknowledge also the people that, the traditional owners of the land on which I am situated, that is the Wurundjeri people, and my respects go to all of their elders. I also want to acknowledge the fact that Victorian Government with First Peoples of Victoria are on a journey to establishing treaties, and that is something that we're very pleased to do. And to all of you, thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today. I want to give some introductory remarks, and I want to then, of course, I believe we're going to have questions and answers, but I do want to commend you firstly, the Australian Institute of Architects, for the leadership that you have played now for a considerable period of time in incorporating climate action in the work that you do. Your members are very much committed to improving the built environment, taking into account very important principles of climate, energy efficiency and climate resilience. And thank you very much. I mean, you are a very trusted group of professionals in the sector, hence the reason why I'm very keen to have conversations with you about the Victorian Government's own ambitions and how they are very much aligned, I believe, with the work that the Australian Institute of Architects have had underway now for some time. In particular, I'm very keen today to use it as an opportunity to talk about the benefits of electrification and energy efficiency, and why that is really critically important for Victoria as a standout, if you like, because Victoria is the single Victorian households are the largest users of gas in the country, and certainly businesses are very reliant on gas here too. And part of the journey to greater climate resilience and meeting our net zero emissions targets by 2045 is to have a plan not just to decarbonise our electricity system, but to have a clear plan around decarbonising our reliance on the gas system. And Victoria is a massive consumer of gas, so it is a big challenge for us, but it's also a very big opportunity. All of it is about starting the work early so that we can manage this transition in a way that benefits all consumers. And it's also, of course, really important not just to reduce our emissions, but to reduce people's energy bills. And we know, of course, that in recent times, the cost of energy has become a very important conversation point, but a real burden for many consumers in the country, not just here in Victoria. So I want to begin by discussing how electricity and energy efficiency, because of course, if we can avoid using electricity or reduce our actual use of electricity, our energy, that is the best approach to take, and that is why energy efficiency is also an important part of this conversation. So I want to talk about how that can benefit many of your clients, both electrification and energy efficiency. I then want to talk about the actions that the government is taking to accelerate the transition, detailing our work in what we call our gas substitution roadmap, our Victorian Energy Upgrades program, and Solar Victoria, which is our flagship delivery agency for our solar homes programs. Now, our government is very much committed to electrification in the home because it makes good economic sense to households now. From day one, moving away from inefficient appliances and also gas appliances to more efficient electric appliances saves energy costs from day one. So it makes a lot of economic sense and helps to deliver on that cost of living relief. We know that a new all-electric home can save around $1,000 per year on energy costs. And if that's combined with solar on a house roof, those savings can average around $2,200 every year on people's energy bills. So this is a really key reason that underpinned our government's decision to require all new homes to be built into the future that require a planning permit to be all electric. And that policy and that rule started on the 1st of January this year. For existing homes that convert to all electric, there are also significant bill savings. So for a typical existing home that moves to all electric appliances, a household bill can be slashed by up to $1,700 a year. And again, combined or paired with solar, those savings can average $2,700 a year. So these savings occur because electric appliances are far more efficient than gas alternatives, meaning they require sometimes up to 6 times less energy to heat a room or water, as examples. And by using less energy, households can slash their emissions, with the benefits growing as the grid is increasingly powered by renewables, as we push to our target here in Victoria of 95% renewables by 2035. And we've also got a 65% target by 2030. So on top of saving money on bills and using less energy, electrified and energy efficient homes attract a premium in both the selling and rental markets. And estimates from the University of Melbourne in a recent study that they undertook indicate that a 7-star home can attract a premium of up to 10% compared to a typical home. And finally, research also shows that all electric homes are far healthier than those with gas cooktops in the home. A study from the University of Queensland found that 12% of childhood asthma is attributable to exposure to gas stoves used for cooking. So for those that do have gas cooking in home, there is an increase in the trigger of underlying asthma conditions in children. Now, with almost 70% of Victorian homes containing a gas cooktop, 70%, quite a lot, the population-wide health risks become very, very clear. And we've had not just politicians saying these things, but health professionals have come out and really in recent times discussing the impacts on health of gas cooking in homes. Now, a huge part of delivering the benefits that we're intending to do through our programs and policies, that is of lowering bills, lowering emissions and having healthier homes, is our gas substitution roadmap. Now, it's not the most sexy title for a policy document, but it is very much about getting a focus on what we're attempting to do, and that is decarbonise our gas system, increasing our energy efficiency and electrification. There are also other alternatives to fossil gas, and they are renewable gases, which is also a focus of it. But we know that the easiest and simplest way to reduce emissions and save on energy bills is to electrify and to promote energy efficiency. The inaugural roadmap that we released was in 2022. It outlined how we would use energy efficiency, electrification, renewable hydrogen, etc., to decarbonise our gas system and to slash household energy bills. It was and it remains the only document of its kind in the country, and it demonstrates how our government is committed to keeping giving households and industry certainty throughout the transition. The roadmap is in place because, to put it bluntly, doing nothing is not an option. Doing nothing simply allows people to pay more than what they should on their energy bills, does nothing on the need for us to reduce our emissions, and of course the impacts on the environment. It also means that doing nothing on gas is also about consigning locking in embedded network costs for many, many decades to come, and people pay for that. Now, fossil gas makes up about 17% of Victoria's total state emissions, making getting households off gas essential to achieving our emissions reduction targets. Historically, we've had an abundance of gas in Victoria, but that is dwindling now. Production is expected to roughly halve in the next 4 years, and there's limited supplies available to replace it. So one way or another, we're needing to move away from our reliance on gas. It's going to be a journey. It's not going to happen overnight, but we need to start, and the sooner that we start, the more we can best manage this transition to keep people's energy bills as low as possible and indeed save people money, and also have that really important plan to help industry and business also come along for the journey. We did an update to the roadmap that was released in December last year. We will be doing periodic updates as more policy options considered by our government, because it is a journey and there will be many iterative policy changes that will need to be made over that journey. Very soon we'll be going into a public consultation with all communities about to investigate the costs and benefits of expanding the all-electric requirement beyond currently new homes that require a planning permit to be all electric, to also considering whether we should include all new homes, regardless of whether they need a planning permit or not, and many commercial buildings. It's important to remember that the ban on gas connections announced late last year only applies again to dwellings that require a planning permit. So all of you will know that that is nowhere near the majority of new homes that are built each and every year. It's a small portion. It's not an insignificant portion, but it is still not a minority. Now, the regulatory impact statement that will be released very soon will also consider the merits of requiring some gas appliances to be replaced with efficient electric alternatives when they've reached the end of life. Now, the economics of that are very clear. If an existing appliance reaches the end of life, a homeowner will need to replace that appliance anyway. So there is also already an upfront cost for a system replacement. The regulatory impact statement will involve detailed consultation with the industry and the public on exploring this particular theme and others. And what is important, of course, is that we have as many people participating in those consultations as possible, and is really vital that your sector, your industry association, and all of you as individuals participate in that, and we encourage you to do that. We're also looking to expand the minimum energy efficiency standards for rentals to cover ceiling insulation, draft ceiling hot water and cooling. And options for the new standards in rented homes will be tested also this year in consultation with the broader community through a separate regulatory impact statement. So please look out for that. I do want to just quickly move on to the Victorian Energy Upgrades Program. It's also known as the VEU, and this is a flagship program for the Victorian Government. It's been with us since 2009, and it is designed to help households and businesses save thousands of dollars by switching to the latest efficient electric appliances. So this is about swapping out existing appliances with new appliances that are discounted through, in terms of the upfront cost, through the Energy Upgrades Program. It is a flagship program that was designed to reduce emissions, and the obligation is on energy retailers to help households and businesses, their customers if you like, adopt energy efficient appliances and measures, and that includes, of course, very energy efficient electric appliances. And it can save your clients thousands of dollars in upfront costs, but also in ongoing bill savings. It works by providing households and businesses with discounts on energy-saving products, which cut bills, of course, and emissions. And discounts are paid to homeowners and businesses by the installer of these energy-efficient appliances. Now, when an accredited provider, and when I say accredited, the VEU program is managed by the Essential Services Commission. The Essential Services Commission approves providers who need to be fit for purpose, if you like, to deliver products through the scheme. There's also a list of approved products that the Essential Services Commission manages on behalf of us. So when an accredited provider installs an energy efficient appliance, they generate a certificate, and that's called the Victorian Energy Efficiency Certificate. And that certificate represents 1 tonne of greenhouse gas that is prevented from entering the atmosphere. Accredited providers then sell these certificates to energy retailers who are obligated to buy them. And because they are earning extra revenue, the providers can then offer their installation services at a discount, taking potentially thousands of dollars off the upfront cost of electric energy efficient appliances. Now, you don't have to worry too much about the background to all of this and what happens behind the scenes in terms of the energy certificates, but what it does do is drive discounted products and incentives to make it easier for households and businesses to choose an efficient new appliance, an electric appliance, to replace their existing old inefficient appliances, especially gas ones. If you want to nerd out and go down the road of working out how the VEU actually functions behind the scenes, lots of information we can share with you. But in terms of your clients, they'll want to know what's in it for them and how it is that they can that we can make their decision and reduce their barriers to opting for all electric appliances, reducing the cost barriers. And the VU does exactly that. It reduces the upfront cost to be able to opt for that. And also, of course, get those ongoing bill savings, moving away from gas and old inefficient appliances. Now, so I think what's really critical is that if you replace a highly polluting product with a super efficient one, you generate more certificates. So that's important. So the value is, and that drives bigger discounts. Okay. So for example, if you replace a gas ducted system with 4 reverse cycle air conditioners, a household can get discounts of those new units of up to $2,500. Now, it should be noted that new builds are not eligible for VU, okay, because they're not replacing a decommissioned appliance. Okay, so this is about incentivising the swapping out of old inefficient appliances that increase emissions and increase people's bills. Okay, so please, when you're advising your clients, it's important that they ask their appliance installer whether they are part of the VU program, and those who aren't accredited, they can't participate and can't pass on the discount. So that's really critical. Now, the VU is a great nudge for your clients to invest in higher quality, energy efficient electric appliances. After the webinar, we'll circulate more detailed information on how you can get involved. And finally, just a quick overview of our Solar Homes program, because we know that saving money with all electric appliances that are very energy efficient is one thing. It gives you great savings. And when you pair that with solar on a home, you're actually saving even more money on energy bills. And that's why our government remains very committed to our 10-year Solar Homes program that provides rebates for people to install solar panels, household batteries and electric hot water systems. This is different to the VU. You don't have to be swapping out an old appliance to get a rebate for solar panels on your roof, or indeed electric hot water systems or heat pumps. But the two combined can really give you even greater discounts. Now, to date, we've had more than 300,000 Victorian households get a rebate or an interest-free loan to install solar panels, household batteries or energy-efficient hot water systems to slash energy bills. So we're very happy to provide further details on the value of all of these rebates. I won't go into the detail now because time is moving on, but I do want to commend, and we can give you more info afterwards, but I do want to commend the Institute for the work, for your work in supporting excellence in the design industry. Energy efficiency and electrification are important cost of living measures, but they also can help you have a really great looking build. That's really important. These things are not one or the other. They can all come together. Reducing people's bills, designing for climate resilience, and still looking great. So this will save your clients thousands every year, and that support for them is available right now through their government rebates and discounts. So I'll finish at that, and David, I'll hand back to you, and then we can get stuck into, I suppose, some comments or questions that people might want to ask. Thank you.
Sure. Now, I've been told that Katie Brown may actually have some initial interview questions to get things started. So thank you very much for that broad introduction of the government's programs. It's fascinating to hear, and also the benefits that can actually proceed. But I think it'd be lovely to actually have those questions happen. So if Katie can come on to get those questions going, that'd be great. Thank you, Katie.
Sure, David. Sorry, I thought you were going to ask those, but I'm happy to do those, Minister.
Oh, right.
The first question that we've got here for you is, how and why should architects advocate to their clients the benefits of going all electric?
Well, more and more people want to know not just how much it costs to get into a new home, redesign it, renovate it, or build a new one. They're actually interested in what it's going to cost them to live in that home, the ongoing costs. And there is good news about that. So we know that a new all-electric home can save around $1,000 a year on energy bills. And if they combine that with solar on their roof, those savings can increase to $2,200. So it makes economic sense, financial sense, and building a new all-electric home need not cost more money than building a new dual fuel, that is gas and electric home. That's a really important message for us to get across. So that's the key reason. I did mention earlier about University of Melbourne's estimates that 7-star energy efficient homes can attract a premium. So the value of your home can actually increase. Now, typically most people who build a new home want to build it as their home for however long. But sometimes circumstances can change. But people also want to know that the money they're investing in a new home, the value stays there. And in fact, when it's all electric, it actually increases by potentially up to 10%. That's a good selling point for going all electric. Oh, and sorry, I should probably mention also, there is the health aspects, of course. More and more Victorians are looking for ways to help deal with asthma. And we know that health professionals have come out really in the last 2 or 3 years talking about the importance of electric homes in terms of asthma, trigger of asthma. So many new families particularly are looking for ways that they can build a new home that can reduce triggers of asthma. So many people think that maybe getting out of not having carpeted homes is a good way to deal with that because it collects more dust. Well, have a think also about how you actually cook your food in your home. Electric induction cooktops still give you all of the fantastic cooking experiences that many people are used to, especially in Victoria. We like to all think of ourselves as really great cooks, but it also, of course, means that you don't have those nasty fumes that can be a trigger of asthma.
Thanks, Minister. The next question, I think, is a really interesting one, and one actually we've already got in the chat too, around what are some of the common misconceptions that people have about going all electric that this membership might hear from time to time, and how might they be able to be responded to?
Well, look, there are many Victorians who still think that gas is cheap. Gas in the home is cheaper than electricity. And nothing could be further from the truth, especially in the last few years. Now, that myth comes from a point in time, going back a number of decades, when it was the case that gas to the home was cheaper than running your home on electricity. It hasn't been the case for a long time. It's never going to return. Right now and into the future, electricity will be cheaper source of energy than gas. And the reasons are manifold, but in particular, electric appliances are far more, and they can be 5 to 6 times more energy efficient than gas appliances. That's a really critical point. So that's an important thing that I think many architects will come across when they're with their clients, and the facts speak volumes. Ask anyone who's gone from a dual fuel home to all electric, and they will tell you what their energy bills look like, and they are very, very favourable.
Thanks, Minister. The next question that we had here, what are some of the barriers to accelerating electrification, and how is the Victorian Government aiming to overcome these?
Cost is one barrier, but what I say to people is that it is really important, therefore, that programs such as the Victorian Energy Upgrades program and rebates that we have with our solar panels programs are really front and centre in the cost of living offering that we have as a government. If you think about moving away from gas appliances to electric appliances, if you consider it in the light of a hot water system reaching its end of life, breaking down, or your space heater collapsing on you, you're going to be up for a replacement anyway. So there is already an upfront cost that you will need to bear, your clients. when they reach their end of life. Now, what we want to do and what we are doing is making the decision easier for Victorians to choose an electric appliance, say a heat pump to heat your hot water, or indeed reverse cycle air conditioning systems to replace your gas one that's broken down, by giving you a discount. And those discounts can range from anywhere from $200 to $3,500, depends on the unit that it's replacing, and of course the unit that you're buying. So they are very significant discounts. But can I say to you that many Victorians are actually jumping at this now? We've had a record uptake of heat pump systems in the month of March, and a record uptake in people going for reverse cycle air conditioning systems, both of those through the Victorian Energy Upgrades program. So the proof is there. People are already making the choices. For new homes too, the evidence is really clear. If you're building a new home, it doesn't have to cost you more to build an all-electric home than it does to build a gas and electric home. That's a really important message. Another barrier, which is it's a bit of a myth, it's probably an important one, and it's especially one that's around cooking, that somehow an induction cooktop doesn't give you the high intensity heat that a gas cooktop gives you. That's wrong. Anyone who's used an induction cooktop knows that you can achieve a higher heat than a good gas cooktop, and much more quickly also. I've met a lot of people who are into wok cooking. They've tried using wok cooking on induction, and they haven't looked back. And I think they're really important for people to understand that. So I think they're the key issues there. There are many benefits and many discounted products, and we're growing those products. We've got more than 200 heat pump and solar hot water systems on our Victorian Energy Upgrades program list. They're accredited lists of products, and we also have accredited installers, and that's just to make sure that the program runs with a degree of accountability that Victorians would expect from a government-supported program.
And Minister, just a quick follow-up question. What role do you see architects playing in helping to overcome these barriers?
A really big role. The fact is, people go to architects for expert professional advice, and that advice is trusted. That's why they come to you. And so your voices on the benefits of having electric appliances in the home and not gas goes such a long way for people to feel comfortable and comforted by the choices that they could make to go all electric. I say this in a time where, sadly, Australia is still in a state of flux where there's lots of political toing and froing. I don't want to get into the politics, other than the fact that there's a lot of misinformation, a lot of myths out there, and trusted voices are really critical to cut through all of that. Victorians want to know that there is a trusted voice they can go to give them the facts, not to sugarcoat it, not to undersell something, not to oversell something, but give them the facts so that they can make the right choices for themselves. And that's why this information, this webinar is so critical for me to be able to share with you what I think are really fantastic benefits for your clients, because I know that they very much value your expert professional advice. And ultimately, if it means that your advice will make it easier for them to save money on their energy bills, having a more comfortable and healthier home to live in, well, then I think that's a great outcome.
Thanks, Minister.
Great.
I might hand back to David.
Yeah, thank you very much, Katie, and thank you very much, Minister. That was obviously very enlightening, and thank you for those questions, which really fleshed out some really interesting aspects of the policy. I suppose at this point we'd like to open up the session to all sorts of questions. I can see we've got a number of questions appearing in the Q&A session, so just type that in at the bottom and we'll work through it. To begin with, I'd like to just ask about electrifying properties, and it's I suppose a slightly more technical or more construction orientated question, but obviously upgrading your appliances to electric and to better electric appliances involves generally greater supply from the street. And unless you're working off the grid, you'll need more power supply, and then obviously you have solar panels which will contribute. So is the government actually looking at how that process might work? It's actually generally requiring properties to get to sort of a high level of single phase, maybe 2 or 3 phase. Does the government have a strategy on how to actually enable that to be an easy proposition, an economic proposition, so it doesn't actually become much more expensive than actually the upgrade of the appliances themselves?
Thank you, Dave, and that is a really important question. I want to say a couple things on that. One is the fear that if I go all electric, I'll need to upgrade to a 3-phase if I don't have that already. That's not correct. That's not correct. And in fact, people can go all electric and even have an electric vehicle and not have to necessarily go all electric. Although, you know, it really depends on, with your electric vehicle, how quickly you want the car charged. That's fine. Now, so that's important. The second part of it is that, will our electricity system cope? Is there enough power in the system? Do we need to build more poles and wires? Do we need to build more generation? Do we have enough electricity? The simple answer to that is absolutely. When you think about it in this way, we've got 2 energy peaks in Victoria. One is in the summer when we have a peak demand for electricity. We've built our electricity system to meet the highest demand period, which is in the summertime. So we build extra to cope with that. During the rest of the year, there's a lot of spare capacity that exists in our electricity network. In the winter in Victoria, typically, we've got a gas peak because of our reliance on gas for home heating, space heating. Hot water, of course, is a year-round proposition, but for home heating, okay? Now, when you think about it, the more we electrify, what is it that we're electrifying? Well, we're electrifying home heating, which is the winter peak. So we're reducing the gas peak, hopefully, in the winter. And we've already got the build out of the electricity system because we've got the summer peak already, okay? So there's plenty of electricity supply during that winter peak period to meet the increase in demand through an all-electric proposition. So people can be very confident of that.
Okay, so the intermediaries, the supply companies, I'm not quite sure how much the ministry would be involved in that, but they're clearly the medium to actually enable the power to get to the properties. So is there any sort of greater overview to try and help those companies along the way? Because there must be a lot of upgrades going on at the moment, and you know, for the foreseeable future as well, with 70% of homes currently having gas appliance or gas ovens and cooktops, should I say. So yeah, is there any mechanism to actually enable that to sort of progress more efficiently at lower cost? Because it's obviously quite an industry in doing that.
Yes, and I'm not sure if I've understood your question well, but if I may, I know that moving away from gas to an all-electric proposition in the home, what's happened is that the gas distribution businesses can, if you want to totally disconnect from your gas, because remember, you've got that, whether you've got a gas appliance or not in your home, if you're still connected to gas, you're paying that service charge every year, whether you use the gas or not. So most people who go all electric, they actually just want to disconnect from gas. They don't have to, but they can. That has, up until very recently, some of the gas businesses were charging up to $900 to have that disconnection. We've had the Australian Energy Regulator that made a decision to equalise that cost to about, I think it's about $290, $200 to be, so it's actually it's not as an expensive a proposition to just totally disconnect for those people that want to. And paying off that $200 is a very, very quick proposition when you're actually disconnecting and stopping from paying that connection charge every year.
Okay. Another question that's come through is to do with energy rating of houses. And with commercial buildings, there's a mechanism, an energy rating tool that actually assesses how much energy buildings actually use. This could easily be applied to houses as well. Yeah. Is there any thought to make that mandatory so that when somebody's selling a house, they can actually say, they can look at the power consumption, and the ones that actually consume less would be a more attractive proposition and attract a higher value than the ones who consume more? Has that been considered, or is that being considered?
Yeah, thank you. Look, there's a couple of things I want to say on that. One is an activity that's available through the Victorian Energy Upgrades Program for energy efficiency assessments, but I'll put that one aside for now. In terms of that, what's been referred to in the past as mandatory disclosure of energy efficiency of a home. That's been a proposition that's been around now for quite a number of years, and your members will know this. Now, what has happened is that at one of the more recent meeting of energy ministers, so the Commonwealth Government and all the states and territories, that was placed on the agenda for work to be done at a national level to consider moving to some type of disclosure system. I'm not here to be able to say that it's going to be mandatory or there will be a system in place by X period of time, but we have turned again our minds to that across all of the jurisdictions. So there is work underway. The Commonwealth Government is leading that. The states and territories are contributing and working with them. And at some point in time, I'm sure that there will be consultations around that very question. It does fit into that value proposition, as we know, that University of Melbourne work that showed that, people are understanding that the value, the premium on a home with an energy disclosure rating, for those that have got good energy efficiency ratings, the value of that can be so much more in terms of the resale price. And more people are looking to understand not just the cost of moving into a new home or a home, buying a home, but what is the cost of actually living in it? And that's really critical too. Now, the Victorian Energy Upgrades Program, notwithstanding that issue, which is an important one to your members, the energy efficiency assessments, and there's many professionals out there, and I'm sure your members will know them very well. They can provide a service depending on the size of your home. An assessment can cost anywhere between $200, I think, and $500. That activity in a home, a Victorian householder can actually get a discount off that assessment up to the value of, I think, about $140. So again, that's another incentive for any of your clients that are thinking about, if they're not quite sure or if they're not ready yet to go with that big reno or that new build, they can look at doing an assessment, and there is a discount to the cost of that assessment, and that will help them make a better informed decision about going with that renovation and the types of, hopefully, all electric appliances that they'll choose to go with that.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. And having almost got the 7 stars, which is fantastic, is the government thinking about the next steps of what's next? 8 stars, the next path ahead, so we can start to think and actually encourage clients to take paths that might actually respond to that?
Well, look, I understand that it's been a bit of a gap between the 6-star and the 7-star coming for households, but I'm not here to say that our government is going to be going over a period of time to an 8-star proposition. So I'm not here to make any announcements. And the thing is, the 7-star is really only just started, and I think in some states it might not quite have started yet, but certainly in most states it has. I think the conversation is a really critical one. I think whether we use the star ratings, energy efficiency ratings, I should say, for new build to drive the reduction in our energy consumption and reducing our emissions and our energy bills, we need to see it as one tool in a whole toolbox. And the toolbox has to include all of the types of programs that I've been discussing, we've been discussing here today, because it's a combination of those things that we need to make available to make the choices easy ones to make for Victorians, and not just for new build properties, but also, of course, those that live in existing homes that were built to very, very different standards, even up to 20, 25 years ago. Sorry, David, I think you've gone on mute.
Thank you very much, Minister, for that. That's so insightful, and we much appreciate your time. I understand that you've got other meetings to attend at this point, so we appreciate the time that yourself and Katie have been able to put into this presentation. It will be recorded, so there's an opportunity for people to reflect upon that and sort of look more closely at the thoughts and comments. So much appreciate your time. Thank you very much. And we wish you all the best in this path of decarbonising our community. Thank you, Minister, and thank you, Katie.
Thank you.
Right. Okay. Well, look, just for members attending, just to say that, as I said, this will be available, and we'll actually have another ESD lean-in on the 21st of May with John Bahoric of Multidisciplinary Engineering Outfit WGA, presenting on the important topic of adaptive reuse. We look forward to seeing you on that occasion. Bye for now. Thank you.